Welcome to the Elliot Jolesch Hour. Elliot is the business therapist, giving you access to the greatest business minds in the world. Elliot and his sources provide insight to help your business maintain a healthy life. It's therapy for your business, and it starts now. Here's Elliot Jolesch.
Elliot Jolesch Hour. I am the business therapist, and you're listening on OTR FM. Welcome, welcome, welcome. For those of you in New Orleans, happy Mardi Gras. What a wonderful time. But if you're in New Orleans, I'm going to assume you're not listening to me right now and you're out partying. So more power to you. So let's get on and discuss what's going on in the world of small business. So again, this is Elliot Jolesch. I am the business therapist. I'm here to kind of be your accountability partner, to kind of set you in the right direction and help you get there. Whether you're in a small solo entrepreneurship or you have a growing company of 20 or 30 employees, all of my processes work. They just have to be developed specifically for the type of industry and the type of business you run, whether you're a sole entrepreneur or whether you, as I say, you've got a large company with, 100 people maybe, you're still classified as a small business. And that's what my area of expertise is working with small businesses to help them get to that next level, whatever that level may be in their own mind, because I can't set that level. If you're a $100,000 company and you want to become a $500,000 company, I can help you get there. You probably can't get there the same way you got to 100,000. You have to look at the processes and figure out what's working and how they need to be changed. But a little bit more about me real quick. Again, I'm a business coach. I'm in Frisco, Texas, which is a suburb just north of Dallas. The Frisco, Texas, if you look it up, is the fastest growing community in the U.S., and we have some great opportunities here. If you're looking for a place to raise your kids and your family and a great business sense, this is a terrific place to be. And again, I'm here to help people. Please reach out to me on my website at ecjgroup.com. Feel free to drop me an email at questions@ecjgroup.com, and I'll try to answer them on the next call or on the next show. And if I don't get that, I'll send you a personal answer back in the mail, in an email, and be happy to talk to people. I do offer counseling services or sessions at no cost for the first session. To see where your business is and how I might be able to assist you. My coaching processes are all developmental. It's to help you learn the types of things and processes that you need to be working on and what you can do to improve your business. That's where I come in. I can't do the work for you. I can't offer you and guarantee that I'm going to be able to double your business in 6 months. I can't do that. Now, unless you give me the business and let me run it. Now, if you give me the business and let me run it and I get to keep the profit, sure, I can probably make that happen. But that's not the way it usually works with most businesses. So a little bit more about my thoughts and processes. Everything you do in coaching has to, or when you're working with a coach, has to evolve around your mission and vision and why you're in the business to begin with. And if you cannot answer that question, if you do not know why you're in the business and you don't have a passion for the business, you're in the wrong business. Just plain and simple. You've got to have that passion. You've got to be able, if you don't get up in the morning and look forward to getting to your office or wherever you work, whether it's at home or in an office or in a car or wherever, if you're not that type of person, then you may be doing the wrong thing. And it's time to figure out what is the right thing. I have tools that can help. If you're interested, I would be happy again to sit down and talk with anybody in that. But let's move forward. So as you've listened to me before, and as I always do at the beginning of every show, though we dedicate some shows, which we did last week or a couple of weeks ago, actually, I was out of town last week, to goal planning and goal sessions. I still think it's one of the most important aspects of anybody running a business. You have to have goals, you have to have written goals, and you have to have a way of measuring them. And you have to measure them constantly. So here we are, Tuesday of week 3 in February. You should already know exactly where you're going. I mean, the end of the month, actually we're in week 2, I guess, technically, because February started on a Monday. And next Monday is the 15th. Happy Valentine's Day to all you lovely ladies out there and your partners. But Monday is the 15th. Halfway through the month, you ought to be halfway through the goal. And if you're not halfway through the goal, you need to figure out why not. Now, if you've already met your goal, my first comment would be congratulations. My second comment would be maybe your goal wasn't big enough. My third comment is what are you going to do to keep moving forward? Because just because you made the goal for February, what have you done for March, April, May, June, July, and the rest of the year? And is it time to reevaluate the goal and increase it? That's hard to say. The other things and everything we do that I work with is revolved around those goals, that it's important to measure them and write them out and make sure that that they're attainable. You don't want something outrageous, though I like a little bit of outrageousness occasionally. But they've got to be attainable, they've got to be measurable, and they've got to make sense. And I don't necessarily like to measure goals in money, though a lot of people tend to do that. And I'll tell you why not, because money is not what you're looking for. Your client base, if your client base is successful, if you're selling widgets and you sell 10,000 widgets, the money is going to be there. You're not giving them away. You're expected to make a profit. I certainly wouldn't have you run a business that's not profitable. And if you can't figure out what your margins are, you need to get some help in there and figure that out so that you know you're making money and that you're not giving it away per se. But the whole idea is to build a customer relationship. And I mean, when I work with my clients, my goal is to add more clients till I'm full. And then when I'm full, I will either figure out another way to add more clients, maybe a group situation. I get people involved with my coaching processes a lot of times through group coaching because I can offer them myself and cover more people at the same time so they pay a lower rate and we don't meet as often necessarily because there's always work involved. I always give assignments, you might say, for things that I would expect my coaching clients to follow through on. It's the only way they grow. But after the goal setting, one of the most important things that I find lacking, particularly in small businesses, and it doesn't matter the size of the business, all small businesses to some degree have some issues with marketing. Marketing is one of those dirty words that people just do not understand completely how they work. So one of the things that I've done, I'm in the process of writing another book. I've got one book that actually has gone to the editors for a second edit, and I'm hoping will be published here in the next 90 days or so. And when it does, I'll let you know, and I'll let you know how you can get it. So I started a second book on marketing and on all of the areas of marketing that in my thought process are just missing that people, and a lot of this from a marketing standpoint can tell you this, but a lot of people can't necessarily tell you this. So when I was talking to my publisher, he came back and says, well, we need some proof. We need some fact-finding information. I just can't have you write a book with all sorts of promises in it and no case studies to show for it. And I said, okay, I'll put something together. It's going to delay the book again a little bit, but so I've got 90 days or so, maybe 120 to get this done. And so what I'm doing is I'm working with small businesses anywhere. Don't care, because with Skype and telephones and screen shares and all sorts of things, I can do this anywhere. I need 45 minutes of your time. So you give me 45 minutes of your time is what I'm telling people, and I will find them up to $10,000, maybe more, in expenses and stuff that they're not spending appropriately or that they're wasting their money. So I'll find a way of improving their sales by $10,000. So that's my case study. I'm still looking for about 10 companies to do this with, whether they be individual or not. If you're interested, I'd be happy to talk to you about it. Again, drop me an email at questions@ecjgroup.com. I'll get back with you and we'll set up a brief conversation. But I want to go back in and give you a little bit more information as we talk about marketing and what it involves and how to best use it, because most people have their understanding of what marketing is, And in the time I hear it, and they do, for the most part, they're doing tactical marketing. Tactical marketing is the placing of ads to attract attention, or you put a Facebook ad out. You may buy a solo ad. You may your business card will have information on it. Your website should have information on it. All those pieces are basically tactical marketing. How do you find your clients? How do you find the clients that exclusively are looking for what you have, and are ready to buy, whether now or 90 days from now? You want to attract their attention, and you want to keep them on the hook, kind of, if they're not ready to buy right now. For example, let's take a sunroom. Not everybody's ready to buy a sunroom right now. For those of you in the Northeast, it's probably frigid outside, and you probably couldn't even think about putting a sunroom in, let alone find somebody that wants to put one in for you. So what do? How do I attract those people? Well, I can throw an ad out there and just go willy-nilly and say, hey, I got sunrooms. I'm the best sunroom builder in the town, and reach out to me, and we'll quote you a sunroom. That's one opportunity. But that's, in a sense, tactical marketing. I take a much more specific approach. I like to plan my strategic marketing so that I have a very straightforward way of attracting the people that I want to attract, and then hitting them with my sales pitch, in a manner of speaking. So we're just getting ready for a break. So as we come back after the break, I'll give you more understanding about how all this works and explain it. You're listening to the Elliot Jolesch Hour. I am Elliot Jolesch, and you're listening on OTR FM. And we'll be back, or we should be back, right after these messages.
This is OTR FM, part of the IOM radio network.
Have you ever wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free today at ascendinghearts.com. and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
Hello, I'm Miriam Knight of New Consciousness Review, inviting you to my new show where I interview the rising stars of the conscious awakening. We'll explore the many faces of consciousness in action and intriguing perspectives on life, the universe, and everything in between. Join us each Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern on the Rising Stars Show.
This is Terry Van Horn, and I want to invite you to join me for my weekly radio show, Healing Light, on OMTimes Radio every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On Healing Light, we want to bring love, light, and blessings into your world. You can find out more about us at www.healinglightonline.com. Blessings.
Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
This is OTR FM, part of the IOM radio network.
Welcome back. This is Elliot Jolesch. You're listening to the Elliot Jolesch Hour. I am the business therapist, and you're listening on OTR FM. Before we went to break, we were talking about marketing and the difference between tactical marketing and strategic marketing. And I wanted to go back into that a little bit more and explain exactly what I meant. So if you're running an ad, and again, we'll take the same example. You're a maker of sunrooms. You build sunrooms for people. How do you find somebody that's looking to build a sunroom? That can be challenging. Let's give an example. If I have the Rose Bowl and it holds 100,000 people, I have two choices. Choice number one is I can put an ad out there and basically hand out a piece of paper to everybody in the Rose Bowl and say that, are you interested in a sunroom? Then go check my website out, or something of that nature, right? And that will, you might hit or miss. You might get one or two people. I mean, typically when you're doing that, you're going to get a very small percentage. The bigger issue is the cost. Let's say it costs you, I don't know, 3 cents each. So for $100,000, you've spent $3,000, and what happens? You get a few people, and that's it. You have no way of getting a hold of them again. You've given them your information. Now it's up to them to reach back out to you. So let's take this another step. Why don't we find people that are interested in maybe looking into sunrooms so that you can capture their information? This is where you start building a list, and you need basically a lead magnet or something that will attract their attention. So why don't we put together a document that says top 5, top 7, you pick a number, top 10 reasons that you should have a sunroom, or top 7 questions you should ask any sunroom contractor before you buy a sunroom from them. Anything of that nature. It should take you, I don't know, if you're an expert in the building of sunrooms, it's going to probably take you less than an hour to put something together. And you set it up, and you put it into Word. You create a nice Word document, and you save it as a PDF. Now you have this nice PDF that is electronic that you can send to anybody that's interested. Now you go back out to these people and said, are you interested in building a sunroom? Maybe not now, or maybe in 90 days. Before you build a sunroom, check out our top 7 reasons or top 7 questions that you should be asking a contractor on how they build their sunrooms. Go to this website or go to this link and download this free report. And it's a list, or you can tell it a list. If you wanted to make it a report, make it 2 or 3 pages with more detail, you can do that. But when you send them to this page, you're sending them to a landing page or a capture page. Now we're getting into marketing. We're actually getting into a little bit of internet marketing, but it works in a business just the same way. Now, once you've created that capture page, the first thing that they're going to say is, you're going to have a headline there that's going to attract their attention when they go to it, and you're going to ask them for their name, their email address, and maybe their phone number. And I would make their name and email address a requirement. Their phone number can be optional. And you can put their optional. So they fill that information out, and then they click on the button, or you click here to get the free report, and it would then send them to a thank you page. And that thank you page is, hey, great, thanks very much. Your report or your list is on the way to your mailbox. Go check it out. But first, and then you could say, I have an offer here if you wanted to. If you're interested in buying or building a sunroom in the next 30 days, we have crews right now that aren't working, and we're giving a $1,000 discount on anybody that buys in the next 30 days, or anybody that reaches out and gives me this code word, and you can build on that to attract more attention. Now, you don't have to. It's just the thought process. Might even do it a video. Videos have become very popular. They're very easy to do. You've got a camera on your phone, whether it be an iPhone or an Android, that will do video. If nothing else, you can get a webcam, or you can just get a regular movie camera, a little digital camera, and do a quick movie. You might even do a longer movie and talk about different pieces of it, and give them a part of the report in a video. So then all of a sudden now you've got their addresses, and you've got a way of reaching back out to them. They get the free report. They have information about who you are. You're going to have your contact information on it. You're going to have your website. On your website, you're going to have examples of your work. maybe more information, more detailed information than what you put on the first list. Now you have a way of reaching out, and basically I would suggest you create from there a drip campaign. What is a drip campaign? A drip campaign is where you send an email out, whatever time frame you decide, every week, every hour, I wouldn't do every hour, but every week, every couple of weeks, saying, just, don't know if you're ready, in the market for it, but wanted to give you some more information about what it takes to build a sunroom, or why sunrooms are so popular. What's it do to the value of a house? Just a short little message. What you're trying to build is a relationship. You're trying to get these people to understand who you are and know you. If you have your own website, you could have a link on that would take them back to a blog post or some type of video on there for more information. You could go into more detailed information, maybe show a copy. The next time you build a sunroom somewhere, set up a camera, put it on a time delay, and have it shoot pictures every 30 seconds, every minute, something like that, while you're building it, and then edit that down to a 2-minute video and put that on your website. Here's what is involved in building a sunroom. We've compressed a 3-week job or 2-week job. I don't know how long it takes, down to a 2-minute video. Take a quick idea. We'll give you an idea of what's involved in building a sunroom for you. And then now you're starting to build a relationship and rapport, and it always helps you get more leads. It'll help you do more conversions. And one of the things that I'm talking to people in marketing at all times is there's a 5-step profit formula. There's a situation that you have to understand. The more leads you have, the more opportunity for conversions. The more conversions you have, the more opportunity for transactions. Again, along that, you have higher prices. You always have a multi-level pricing structure. You've got you go to a car dealership, they don't just have one car, right? They have multiple cars with different options at different prices. They may show you the high end first, and if that's out of your budget, they'll drop you to another one with fewer options on it. Same way with a sunroom. I got a sunroom with all the bells and whistles in it, and it sells for $50,000. And we finance it, and we do all this for you, and we have it ready for you in 30 days. Are you ready to sign? Oh, can't afford $50,000. I have another one here that's only $35,000 or only $25,000. You decide where that is. And you build a sales funnel. And that funnel is going to go from the high end down to a low, moderately priced something. And then along the way, you'll find out what people can afford. I always look at the 80-20 rule. Remember, in this particular case, that 20% of your effort is going to take up 80. It's going to make 80% of your profit. That's the 80-20 rule for me. So 20% of your effort is going to make up 80% of your profit. And I always tell people, don't be necessarily afraid to increase prices. Sometimes increasing prices is better than discounting. I don't understand it completely. There's some philosophy and science behind it. But higher prices, first of all, I tell a lot of my clients, particularly if they're working with customers, you always have some customers that aren't quite involved as much as you'd like them to be. I get it all the time. I get coaching clients that fall off the wagon, in a matter of speaking, and cancel meetings and stuff, but they're still paying me. Or they're still going through the motions. They'll make a meeting occasionally. It's a hard task sometimes to do, but I review my prices on a regular basis as I'm filling up and I'm becoming, people are recognizing who I am and the services I can give. I tend to raise my prices. Usually about every 18 months is what I'm doing right now. And yes, I'm going to lose a couple of customers, but I end up usually picking up 4 or 5 more, and I've made up the difference. It's a hard thing to think about, but it's one of those areas that you have to pay attention to. So other things that should be looked at. Look at your website. What's on your website right now? Is your website giving information out, or is it just kind of, here's who I am, here's what I can do? People don't want to see that anymore. People want to see what's in it for them. By coming to your website and looking at your website, what information are they going to be able to take away from it? So the more you can put on it as to the importance of a sunroom, For instance, as we continue this example, or what's involved in the construction, how it increases the value of the house. Here's some examples. Always have testimonials. Video testimonials are the best if you can get that. All of that works out and is a better thing. And you always want a way for people to contact you. And again, you've already given a free report away. If you had a second report that's on your website, that's even better. And you can rotate those reports out. You can write new stuff every so often, probably change it every 30 to 45 days would be a good idea. Those are always important things. Another area to talk about would be joint ventures. Now, joint ventures are going to take a little bit more to explain exactly what I mean by a joint venture. So right now, I'm going to back off on it. We'll come back to it right after the break. We're getting ready to get to a break here, and I don't want to kind of start that and have to stop that. So we'll back up a little bit. Let's talk about your website. What should be on your website? Well, obviously, your contact information, and it shouldn't be at the very bottom in little bitty letters. I think it should be boldly out there, particularly with whatever you're promoting. If you're a sunroom contractor and you're building sunrooms, you're some way for them to reach out and get a hold of you right now if they wanted to pick up the phone should be there. You know, if you're in an area that you think people tend to do a lot of searching at night, create a 24-hour number that they can either get a recorded message or, more importantly, get a person talking on the phone that will take their information down and make sure that you reach out to them in the next 24 hours. Offer a complimentary meeting to come in and talk to them, or for them to come to see you, or you go to see them. Those are all options. Make sure if you that maybe have a Facebook page for your business and have some pictures of the work you've done. Get the people that are out on Facebook to like those pictures. Look at Pinterest or Instagram also for other ways of involving social media. So we'll continue with this discussion right after these messages. You're listening to the Elliot Jolesch Hour. I am Elliot Jolesch, and we'll be back right after these messages.
This is OTR FM, part of the IOM radio network.
As difficult as it is to believe, there are places in Africa where human traffickers sell albino children and their body parts for use in magic rituals. Humanity Healing International is actively working in Uganda to change this paradigm. The Albino Rescue Project finds albino children who are at risk and places them in safe schools and environments where they can learn and grow free from fear. To learn more or to sponsor a child, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
Hi everyone, this is Shay Parker, the host of Best of the Best, which airs live right here on IOM Radio every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Pacific. I'm super excited to bring you expert guest hosts, spiritual discussions, free psychic readings, and so much more. I can promise that you will not want to miss this one-of-a-kind, fun, yet touching, down-to-earth show. Join us every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific on OTR FM. This is Shay Parker, and I can't wait to see you there.
Do you have time to read that inspiring book or that blog post you've been meaning to get to? In your busy world, how do you improve yourself and keep your life going? I'm Lisa Kay, and my Between Heaven and Earth radio show can transform your life just by listening. Be uplifted with inspiring topics, positive stories, and ideas that really work. Between Heaven and Earth radio is conscious living for your soul, every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time.
Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
You're listening to OTR FM, part of the IOM radio network.
I am the business therapist, and you're listening to the Elliot Jolesch Hour on OTR FM. Before break, we were talking about strategic and tactical marketing. And I wanted to continue that discussion. But the next thing I really wanted to, we talked about the website and what improvements should be made to your website so that it becomes more than just a brochure, that it actually becomes a piece of information with useful information out it that you can use. But I wanted to talk now and move into the area of joint ventures. And joint ventures, I have found, are very important. They're important, particularly in certain businesses, because you can't do it all, and there are areas that you don't do, but you come across people that need services. For instance, why not have a joint venture with a swimming pool builder, somebody that builds in-ground swimming pools or even above-ground swimming pools? They may or may not build sunrooms. And assuming they don't build sunrooms, why not say, well, if you put a pool in and you find out that your client is interested in a sunroom, then contact me. We'll come together or create a separate project for that, and I'll pay you a finder's fee. There's got to be a reward in there, and you do the same thing. If I find a candidate that's interested in building a swimming pool while I'm building their sunroom, I'll reach out to you and give you a client. And I'll get you would expect the pool builder to provide you some type of remuneration as well. That's the whole idea behind a joint venture. It's for you all to go into business. It expands your business. It gives you more clients to deal with. All of a sudden now if your pool builder brings you a client, you've got a new client. If you take a new client to him, he's got a new client. You can do some cross-pollination, so to speak, on your website so that you put a tab up there interested in building a swimming pool. Here's a great pool builder. Go see him. And that when they click on that link, they make sure that they record that they got a lead from you so that if they do close a deal, you get a credit for it in some way, shape, or form. Now, that's all a negotiation. Some of my joint ventures are by basically just handshake and an agreement, and others are written. So it's something that you have to sit down and figure out what's the best way to do it. But joint ventures can be very profitable, and you should always be looking at joint ventures and the purpose of increasing your business. It gives you a capability. Let's say you have 3 crews that can build sunrooms, and a 4th person comes in and they don't want to wait. Conceivably, you could have an agreement with another sunroom builder and it says, if I don't have enough, if I'm overloaded or I need some extra help, can I send this customer to you and you'll do a sunroom in the same style that I do or in a similar style that they're happy with? There's a way to pass that back and forth, and you work out the arrangements. I'm working with a contractor right now that specializes in bathrooms. And one of the problems he runs into that we've talked about a little bit, we haven't resolved any issues yet, but his forte is bathrooms. That's what he likes to do. But when other jobs come along, he has a tendency to take those jobs too. And of course, then another bathroom job comes along, and he either has to hire another crew that he can't necessarily afford, or he's got to let that bathroom go unless they're willing to wait. Now, some people will wait. I've got clients that will wait, but not everybody will wait. So it's one of those issues that you just have to consider what's the best way to handle when you're building a joint venture. It's a two-way street, and I would say whenever you have a joint venture candidate, that once you've set something up, you have an agreement in place that every 60 days, 90 days, whatever, you're going to get together and talk about business and figure out what's working and what's not working and what else needs to be done. Whether you do it in a meal or just at a meeting is up to y'all. But these are things that have to be done in order to keep the lines of communication open in a joint venture. One of the most important things in all of this is lines of communications, whether you're dealing with your clients, a prospect, a past customer, an unhappy customer, any of that nature. Lines of communication are the most important things that can be done. So let's talk about, so you've got your lines of communication open. You've upgraded your website so that it's offering some information and stuff, because the more information you give out for free, the more people are going to like that. So you always want to give more value than cost. So you want the value to be there and not just look at a sales approach. So let's talk about a drip campaign. And we mentioned it earlier. What is a drip campaign? And again, that's creating an offer, promoting that offer somewhere, whether it be on Facebook or a solo ad or just on your website. Actually, you don't want it on your website. You want it on other people's websites. Go to a home builder. Say, can I put an ad on your website? Go to the swimming pool builder. You're a joint venture. You might want to put an ad on their website. Go to, again, Facebook, I think, is a great place to work with. There are a lot of different places. You just have to figure out what works for you. And that's a place where the whole key is that your landing page or capture page, because you can get name, an email address, and maybe a phone number. Once you have that information, you build a drip campaign. And you need an email service for that. There's a lot of them out there. One that I highly recommend because it's very inexpensive to get started is MailChimp. In fact, you can set up a free account with MailChimp. And I think they will allow you to get up to 2,000 clients or on your email list, not clients, but email list. I think it's 2,000 before they charge you anything. Now, there's also some restrictions on how many emails you can send out and things like that. But even if you started paying for it, I think for up to 500 prospects or on your email list is limited to $10 a month. So you're talking about $120 a year to maintain a list of less of 500 people. Now, if you have more than that, then the charges get higher, but they're still very reasonable. There's 2 or 3 others that are good. There's Aweber, there's Infusionsoft that's considered the Cadillac or the Rolls Royce of the internet marketing world. It can do everything, and for a sunroom builder, it's probably a little bit of an overkill. If you're doing an internet product, it's probably very good because it's got a membership site built into it and a lot of other stuff. And webinar, it works well with webinars and stuff. So, but it's very important you have because it'll help you maintain your list. It'll help you build your list. And lists are the most important piece that you can have. You've got to have a quality list that will allow you to market to these people through a drip campaign. Now, once you've got that list, now you open the door for other pieces. What else goes into a sunroom? Who else could you market your list to? Maybe an interior designer who comes in afterwards and creates an interior design for the sunroom. I don't know what else would be in a sunroom, but maybe somebody if they want to put video and other electronics out there, that would be an ideal with some company that markets and installs electronic equipment. Maybe a security system has to be upgraded. All sorts of areas that could be where your list could be beneficial to them, because that gives them an extra group of customers that they can go after. Again, go back to your joint venture, sit down and figure out, what does this make sense for me? If I provide you my list, what are you going to do with it? And I always tell my clients that first of all, my list is always going to be for me, and I'm maintaining my list. I'm not just giving it to them. They're going to provide me the information, and I will send it out for them. But because I want to make sure that what they're sending out is respectful of my clients. You never want to just give your list out to anybody else, and you certainly don't want to spam people. That's where that creates all sorts of issues. And all of these programs will have a way for measuring spam, and so that you know that what you're saying is spammy or not spammy, kind of. So it's always an important piece. So the other areas that we would need to look at, how do you get more transactions? Well, just because you've attracted somebody's attention, you may not make them a client today, but maybe they'll be a client in 90 days or 2 years. Don't lose those people. In fact, I would reach out to them. If you've got somebody that you've talked to and you've gone through the drip campaign and they're still not interested, unless they ask you to remove themselves from the list or you provide them with a way for them to unsubscribe, I would reach out to them every probably 6 months, you know. Maybe at Christmas time, you send a card out to all your prospects, you know, wishing them a wonderful holiday season or something, or a Happy New Year. Those are all areas to keep in touch, because you just want to kind of put a little blip out there, you know. It's why we see advertisement the way we do. You know, there'll be advertisements that we recognize but may not have seen in 5 or 6 years. But the minute we see it or hear about it, or somebody mentions it, we know exactly what it is. If you all paid attention to the Super Bowl this past weekend and all of the commercials that were on it, we pay attention to these commercials. We'll see these commercials once or twice. I mean, one of the most famous commercials out there right now is the commercial that Apple did in 1984. It ran one time. Yet if you go to almost anybody that was around back then and ask them about the Apple commercial for the Mac, it was about the Macintosh, but they didn't even talk about Macintosh. They basically talked about Apple and about them introducing a new computer. And that was all they mentioned. It was in 1984. I believe the date of the introduction was April 24th, I think, but I won't swear to that date. I was there when in fact, I don't think I saw the original commercial. I've seen it many times since then. And it's, you know, ingenious from that standpoint, because it had nothing to do with the new computer, the Macintosh. And here we are, 30 plus years later. And of course, the Macintosh is in a lot of businesses now. I know a lot of small businesses that use it. So it doesn't take a lot to create something that can be remembered for forever, you might say. So how do you get more transactions? So one of the ways to get, of course, more transactions is to provide more offerings. Have different accessories available. Again, more connections with other people. We'll continue the discussion after this break. You're listening to the Elliot Jolesch Hour. I am Elliot Jolesch, the business therapist, and you're listening on OTR FM radio. We'll be right back after these messages. Stay tuned, please.
You're listening to OTR FM, part of the IOM radio network.
OMTimes magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Do you have time to read that inspiring book or that blog post you've been meaning to get to? In your busy world, how do you improve yourself and keep your life going? I'm Lisa Kay, and my Between Heaven and Earth radio show can transform your life just by listening. Be uplifted with inspiring topics, positive stories, and ideas that really work. Between Heaven and Earth Radio is conscious living for your soul, every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time.
Hello, I'm Sandy Sedgbeer, host of the Inspired Parenting radio show, where every week we bring you empowering information from the diverse fields of conscious parenting, education, neuroscience, consciousness, health, and metaphysics to support you in nurturing the best in your children. So if you're interested in understanding what shapes your children's minds, spirits, and hearts, join me every Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and prepare to be inspired.
Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
This is OTR FM, part of the IOM radio network.
Back. You're listening to the Elliot Jolesch Hour. I am Elliot Jolesch, the business therapist, and you're listening on OTR FM. Let's continue our discussion. If you've been listening for the whole show, we started talking about marketing. Again, I'm going to go back real quick and remind you, keep an eye on your goals. All of this has to roll into your goals. But let's go back to marketing. And we talked about getting more leads. We talked about more conversions. And now we've just recently talked about, before the break, we talked about more transactions. And how you, I guess, how you convince your clients in some case to spend more, buy more. There's certain techniques and stuff. I don't necessarily go into that, but the other thing that, again, it takes understanding your website. It takes understanding how to do a drip campaign for attracting attention, for building that list. Once you have that list, it's making appropriate use. It's providing your client base and your prospects with more details and information than they could ever imagined you would offer as a business. Expectations are always in high demand. You always want to I always get this backwards. You want to make sure that you over-deliver and over-promise, under-deliver? No, over-deliver and under-promise. So you basically, what I'm telling you is that if you're going to give ABC, you want to give A, B, C, D, and E, and give it for a lower price than they would expect, but maybe a higher price overall. Okay, that sounds a little redundant there, but I always tell people they need to go back and, particularly in the construction areas or where they're manufacturing something, look at their prices. Make sure they have all of their costs figured out. Make sure their margins are appropriate for the industry. Not just for them, but for the industry. If you're not paying yourself a salary, a regularly, weekly, or monthly salary with taxes coming out, then you haven't included your pricing right. And I find this time and time again. I'll look at a person's books and we talk through them and we go through and I said, okay, where are you paying yourself? Oh, I'm not. I take whatever's left over. That doesn't work. Sorry, I don't buy that because I know what happens. You don't pay yourself. Your paying yourself should be actually first. If your prices aren't established correctly to pay yourself, then you're not, in my opinion, doing it the right way. Yes, I know maybe, but because you're in business, to make money, aren't you? I mean, all right. If you won the lottery and you've got $57 million in your back pocket, maybe you don't need to charge anything and you can just give it away. I'm okay with that. But for the rest of us, since only 3 won that lottery, and I think only 1 has come forward. I don't know about the other 2, but I haven't followed it. Anyway, I digress. You've got to, if it's costing you XYZ to build something and it includes all your costs, yes, you've got to have a differential between your overhead and your actual costs, but you got to count your overhead too. If you have a factory, you've got rent. You've got to figure out, so how many do I have to make? You've got to have a break-even analysis. And if you don't know what that is, find somebody that can help explain it. If you don't understand basic accounting functions, hire somebody. Doesn't have to be an employee, can be a contractor. There are bookkeepers out there that'll work with you. There are accountants out there that will work with you. Yes, I have a business background and I have an accounting background. I have an undergraduate degree in accounting. So I know the importance of it. You need to keep track of your financial information. So you need it, whether you do it every morning or every other morning or every third morning, you should always know how much money is in your bank account, what jobs are in process, what your expected outflow for the day is, and what money you have coming in. Those are the basics. The bigger the company, the more information you may need, and the longer it may take to get some of this information. Somewhere along the line, you will need an accountant or a CPA to help you provide those information. And you should always have a CPA, particularly if you're profitable, because a CPA will help you pay the least amount of taxes. Now, everybody gets upset over paying taxes, but my philosophy on that is if you make the money, then you need to pay the taxes. Now, that doesn't mean you just don't take your deductions that are legitimate deductions. That should be appropriate, but that's where an accountant comes in. An accountant will sit down with you. They will tell you what you can and cannot do, and what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. If you work in a service type organization and you have an office in your home, there are deductions that you can take, but they're very strict, and you've got to abide by certain rules. But there's nothing wrong with taking them. But you have to make sure you do it the correct way. That's why you have a CPA help you with your books. Now, you may not need the CPA year long. You may need the CPA just during tax time, and the rest of the time you use a bookkeeper. I know several bookkeepers in this area that are quite busy during the year because they maintain a lot of businesses' books, and they make a very nice living out of that. But they're not a CPA. Then they prepare the paperwork and hand it back to the client. The client takes it to their CPA, or they may work in directly with the CPA if the client allows them to. These are all very important, and that's why you raise your prices sometimes, because you're not making a profit or your profit margin is not high enough. So I always tell people, if you're not paying yourself, I mean regularly, I'm okay with every other week or once a month. If you're not paying yourself, ideally you should be paying taxes on that, because that's what's going to give you Social Security and other benefits later in life. But beside that, but you still should be paying taxes on it, and then of course that also looks at, as we've talked before, what kind of structure do you have to your company? Are you a sole proprietor? Or are you just a sole proprietor? Or are you you have a partner and you get a business partnership? Are you an LLC? Are you a corporation? And there's several kinds of, you could be a sub S. You could be a C Corp. There are several options and all of that has to be determined with help from an attorney and a CPA. Those are the two people that should always be involved with any type of structure that you're working with, so that you know exactly how everything is structured. You know what's the best way from a tax standpoint to protect yourself and to make the most of with your money. So again, raising prices is something that you have to look at. As your costs go up, you should raise prices. If you think that, look at all the airlines. As the price of fuel increased, jet fuel, they had to raise their fares. Now that jet fuel is coming down, they're able to lower some of their fares and give some special deals. But if you remember back 10 years ago, not so much now, when price of oil and gas, particularly jet fuel, started going up, Southwest Airlines didn't raise their prices. Why? Because they had bought futures. They had bought on the idea, they bought fuel ahead of time, guaranteed price. So when price went up, they already had paid for it, or they already had a guaranteed contract at a certain price. That works for large companies. It may not work for a small manufacturer or a small business owner, but those are things to think of. If you use a quantity of screws or something every month, maybe it is advantageous for you to buy in bulk, or maybe you don't have the storage. So maybe you make an agreement with the distributor or the manufacturer that you're going to pay for X number and expect delivery every month. That idea, means you don't have to store as much. It gives you a different way of saving some money potentially, because you can buy, and if prices go up, you're still paying you've already paid for it. You've paid for the prices. So there are different areas, and that helps you increase your profits. So these are all things that should be that are part of the whole marketing idea. Again, the most important thing with marketing is to understand that you need to do strategic marketing before you do tactical marketing. Tactical marketing is the one-on-one. Strategic marketing is the big plan. If you build a strategic business plan, you're building an idea of where you're headed and how long and how you will get there. That's what strategic marketing is, just on one subject matter. It doesn't have to be for 5 years. It could be just for the next year. If you're putting out information on the web or on Facebook and you're going to run a series of ads or promotions, you need to put that up on a calendar so you know when. You need to backtrack it so you need to know when it has to be planned. All of that is part of strategic marketing. So in the wrapping up here, I want to take a couple of minutes and set aside, again, as I said, it's another area, it's an offshoot of goal setting, because in order to make your goals, your marketing of your products are very important. We'll continue this discussion in future weeks. We'll talk more about it. If you have specific questions, feel free to reach out to me at questions@ecjgroup.com. But I wanted to address one other issue real quick, like from a business standpoint. This has come up a couple of times with clients that I've worked with, and it's affected, in a sense, my family a little indirectly, not directly. It's not with a family member, but I think it's very important, especially if you're in a business, particularly if you're in a partnership or a corporation, that all the members of the executive staff have the appropriate paperwork, wills, etc., be approved by an attorney. We'll talk about this a little bit more at the next show. I think it's very important. In whatever country, state you're in, get with legal representation so you find out what needs to be done. It's extremely important, because if something happens to one of those people, you could really have a problem. And it's hard to say. The hour goes by so quickly sometimes. It just amazes me. But we are out of time. You've been listening to the Elliot Jolesch Hour. I am Elliot Jolesch. I am the business therapist. You've been listening on OTR FM. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate you being here. Again, reach out to me at questions@ecjgroup.com, and we'll see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.